Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Today I'm going to do something quite different. I used to make my own hummus using a really good potato masher, but it did come out kind of chunky, you know. And I thought, well, I've got this meat grinder attachment that comes with the KitchenAid, and I thought, why not, right? So I did it first with the skins on, and had to pass it through a few times, and it still came out kind of not the same, okay? And if you want the store quality one, yes, you will have to do the work of peeling the chickpeas. It doesn't take that long, and if you have helpers, well, get them to it, or put on some good music or whatever, right? But the difference is amazing. And I did come up with a new technique for doing the garlic puree because you don't have to worry about the cutting board doing this. And another kind of odd thing I'm doing is that I've got a kitchen scale for this. Now let me explain. Hummus is very much to personal taste, and I don't really measure, I do it visually. And everybody's tastes are different, right? Some people like some more tahini. Oh, and speaking of, the tahini, do not get the stuff at the cheap store, okay? Because you get what you pay for. Go to a Middle Eastern market and get the good stuff. This stuff I've found, I've tried different ones. I personally prefer the one from Lebanon. I have never had a problem with any brand I've bought that was manufactured in Lebanon. For the chickpeas, I get the ones that just have water in them, if you can do it, because the EDTA ones will definitely foam when you rinse them, and absolutely rinse them, okay? Because if you just make the food without rinsing them, it's not going to be good at all. And you know, with all the gouging that's been going, I'm sorry, you know, their margins are constant. But anyways, with all the inflation that's happened in Canada this winter, in any case, I've stepped down to kind of like cheaper lemon juice, and you know what? It's just as good. Oh, and I've discovered peeled garlic. This is wonderful. I think that covers all of it. Yeah, so in a couple of big bowls. And first thing to do is drain and rinse the chickpeas, and I will show you how to start peeling them and stop after a few seconds. Okay, so I've got the drained and rinsed chickpeas in the strainer with a bowl underneath, because yes, they'll keep dripping. And what you do, yeah, I'll start it with a skin on that side. Try to remember. Okay, so depending what hand you are, I'm right-handed. Skins go in your writing hand, and the chickpeas go in the other. And to demonstrate, you just grab a small handful, squeeze the chickpea, drop the skin, drop the pea. Okay, and like that, and just put on some music or get people to help you and talk to them, or I wouldn't suggest watching TV because you might get the wrong bowls after a while. Oh, and if you drop one, great. Oh yeah, and if there are any funky ones, I haven't seen any so far, but if you do get any, well, just drop them in the bowl with the skins, because that's going to be going into the compost pail when this is done. That took me about a half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour. I have had some practice, and if you think it's a waste of time, well, let me tell you, there are a whole bunch of small auxiliary muscles in your lats that you didn't know existed until you do this, and it is a workout, yes. The oil and the salt did not make it into the opening shot, oh well, but you will want some of each. I'm just going to set up the meat grinder part if you've never seen this. This is a wonderful thing, you know, and you can get some very cheap cuts and make your own ground meat with this. It's just awesome. If you've never seen the food grinder, this is the main part here. The stuff goes on the top. And then there is the actual grinder part. Got the inner one that does the first part of the grinding. I'm going straight to the small grinder because it's really soft. If you are going to be doing meat with this, you should always start with the large bore, which, hang on, I got one here somewhere. Yeah. Okay, that's the large one. That's what you're going to do to start grinding your meat. So first thing, loosen the screw and take the faceplate off and then pop that in. Okay, then get your right in. There, that should just click right in. Then that. And this. It should not fall off. Get your cap. I usually just hand tighten this. Now once it's in, turn the screw right away. Okay, so you don't want this wobbling around. There is a tightener. You just put on like that. I don't put it on too tight. And the original one that came with this cracked, it was wood, and you never want to use cracked wood to cook with because bacteria get in the crevices and can make you quite sick. Okay, so I have a nice plastic one, and it just sets in the top. I'm gonna have to rearrange the shot for this. Okay, turn it on just to the first speed and just drop some in the top. You probably will not even need the feeder. Just come right out. And I don't want to drop any, but I want you to get a good see of what's going on with that. Okay, kind of cool. So the peeling took a while, but this is that fast. So it all evens out in the end, because if you don't peel them, then you're going to have to pass this whole thing through 5, 6, 7 times. You will still get that nagging kind of skin stuck in your teeth taste, and you won't like it. And this stuff here is, I won't say restaurant quality, but pretty close. And do they actually make their own, or do they just open a can? You'll never know. I was going to show you this before I feed it through again. This is why you only have to do it 2 times. Look at that. Okay? By the virtue of peeling them, you get a mass like that. It's great. And it just breaks apart like that. So, I'm going to switch bowls. Yeah, and I washed the plunger. No need to dry it. There's going to be water in this. So, just start that low again. And this, you will need the plunger. So just grab yourself a decent handful, okay? Put that in the top feeder, and for this, yeah, you are going to want to jam it in, because it will not auto-feed the loose ones. Auto-feed, the first grinding needs a push. There you go. You know, the additional benefit to this is you don't have to worry about any sketchy ingredients getting into your stuff. Like if you have food allergies, you know that dreaded may contain, where they say it doesn't, but then you read the fine print on the jar and yeah, oh maybe, sorry, right? As you're reaching for the EpiPen, you know? When you make your own stuff, that never happens. Onto the garlic. Get a piece of parchment about that size. Pick out, again, this is to taste. I like a lot of garlic in my hummus, some people don't. So I'm going to use 4 big cloves. When you do buy the peeled ones, yes, there may be a few ones with blemishes in them and so on. But the upside is, I haven't done it yet, but the upside with this is you can freeze garlic on a piece of parchment in the freezer, and it stays good, you know. So it's not like when you buy a head and you forgot about it, and then you take it out and there's these huge black spots that are like, ew, right? Okay, so that's looking good so far. If I have any surprises, I'm trying a different thing today. I'm trying not to block my own camera angles like I always do. There were no nasty bits. That's wonderful. The first thing to do, and yes, you will need a cleaver for this, okay? And a small rolling pin. You can do it with a French knife, but you're probably going to hurt. So what you want to do is you want to kind of layer that flat. You're going to take the paper and fold it over. Fold it over again. Doesn't really matter if you do it this side or that side, as long as all the garlic doesn't come out the ends. Okay, and so you got this very neat little package that you are now going to put inside the Ziploc. No, this is not a magic trick. It just sounds like one. Well, actually, it may it may actually be a magic trick to some people who have never seen this. Okay, so make sure that the blade edge is away from you. Take a couple of deep breaths. Anybody who knows what I'm doing, you know what I'm doing. And if you don't, well, call it a warm-up, okay? And then you do that. 2 or 3 times. And let's just take that out quick. And you can already see it's kind of half mushed. Okay, I don't want to open this up yet. Now, if you really want to go to town, you can just keep doing that. So once the garlic is sufficiently subdued, then you get out your little rolling pin, aka my noodle stick. And if you do want to use the rolling pin right out the door and you don't want to whack it with the cleaver, that's fine too. Now, while you're a certain way along, what you should do is kind of feel through the paper and see if there are any large bits that have been eluding you during the process, because it will slip around in there and you can't actually see it. You just kind of feel your way around. Okay, well, I see it starting to come out a corner. You can actually see it through the paper. There may be a few chunks left, but I don't want to lose the light. I went to the gym first, which I shouldn't have, but... Alright, and there's a bowl because there's going to be a brief mixing stage at first before I put it into the chickpeas. Wow. Okay, you can actually see the oil reflecting off. There's a little bit that's stuck out. And there you go. There's your garlic puree. And if you want to make your own garlic puree and you want to spend an afternoon doing this, why not? And thus we have solved the cutting board problem, because I used to get a lot of complaints on my garlic butter that I was picking up pieces of the plastic. I don't know, I guess that was when microplastics started to become a thing. And I'm not saying they're wrong, but I don't know if I really want to reshoot that video, okay? Now we're going to get to the science part. So if science is a problem for any viewers, now is the time to look away, okay? Make sure your tahini is well stirred at this point. Okay, you may have a chunk in the bottom or two sticking to the spoon. That's fine. I'm just going to pour it, and I'll even leave the spoon in. So what you're going to do is you're going to put this on and write that number on a piece of paper, okay? This will make sense at the end. Okay, so the tahini is 770 grams. And we'll just do the same thing before we forget. And the lemon juice, I did knock the salt over, so there may be a stand-in, because I don't know how much is left. So I'm not going to bother to weigh that, because that's going to be like a half a teaspoon anyways. Oh, nearly forgot the water. Pour a bit of tahini into that. Okay. I will use the spoon if there's a chunk, whatever. Put in some lemon. And I'm just doing a small quantity now so you can see the chemical reaction. When you put the lemon and the tahini and the garlic together, it does this very interesting thing. And after a bit of stirring, you get nearly a solid sludge. And that's what the water and oil is for. So you want to put some more in here before you keep going. And again, I just visually do that. That may be half a cup, bit more. Some people love their hummus soaked with lemon, some not. Again, to taste and hence the weighing. Yeah, this is a fundamental technique for seasoning and or compounding if you are making ointments or creams with drugs in them. What you do is you add the base to the ingredients. Do never do it reverse, because if you put this into that entire mass of chickpeas, you're just never going to be able to stir it to a nice even consistency. Okay, so that looks halfway reasonable. As you can see, that's getting really tough to deal with, okay? And I haven't put any chickpeas in here at all. So I'm going to just drop in some. Will the spoon stand up straight? Yes, it will. Okay, so we could agree that's thick. So I think now I am safe to put that in there. But what I will do first is I will add a smidge of oil, not too much, and a reasonable amount of water. Oh, let's cheat. What did I put? I put half a cup. See, I shouldn't be doing that. I shouldn't be looking at the side, right? But because if we're going to do science, you just weigh it at the end. And this is why you want to do small quantities at the beginning, because you don't want to put so much in that it's going to splash and go all over the counter, and more importantly, you lose ingredients. Yeah, I could have gone with smaller quantities of liquids and repeated it, but this video is going to be long enough as it is. Unceremoniously dump this into the chickpeas. Get all the goodness from inside this bowl that I can scrape out. No, I missed a spot. I always imagine somebody out there watching it screaming, "You missed a spot!" So if you do that, put that in the comments, I'm curious. Oh, nearly forgot the salt. Now this does not need a lot. This needs like a sprinkle, like literally maybe a quarter of a teaspoon. Good thing it's nearly empty. Okay. Now that's still a little thick. So what I will do is get a clean spoon, never double dip. It's a big, big hygiene thing because there are a lot of bacteria in your mouth. So when you're cooking, yes, taste, but never put the spoon back in, okay? Yeah, a bit more tahini, a bit more lemon, and I think we're good to go. Oh, and I should say, you know, like if you want to practice, you can just do this with 1 can of chickpeas. You don't have to, you know, do the full 2 cans. And I will put a little bit more water because that was a bit thick, yes. And you have to remember that when this sits in the fridge overnight, and hummus always tastes better the next day, always. I think it's because the flavors and the oils get to diffuse right through the entire mess. If you eat it right when you make it, it's kind of like ugh. And you also want it to be nice and cold. I do anyways. Yeah, that's looking just lovely. Clean spoon. See, dirty ones here, I'm not cheating. Oh yeah, what is it missing? What is it missing? Ah, a little oil. I know I sound like a sorting hat, right? The last thing is to get the weights. I've got the other bowl here cleaned. And if you put the bowl on and turn the scale on, you get 0. I'll take out the spatula. Well, I'm losing a little bit, but not enough to be worth it. And then you swap them out. So we made 968 grams of hummus, which is nearly a kilogram. Okay, and last time I checked at a store, This was $10.50, anywhere upwards to maybe $12, $13, $15, depending on where you shop. And now, so it's definitely worth it. I mean, if not just for the taste, okay? So now it's time to re-zero. 503, so 267 grams. And then the lemon, $6.99. And yes, I will figure this out after to try to do it to volumes for you before I post this. Okay, so that's enough science for one day. You can look again. So many unsubs. Yeah, anyways. So let me take a good close look at that. And give that one last stir. Yeah, so there's my hummus. I'm going to put that in a container in the fridge. And I'm going to have some tomorrow. Good morning, everybody. Okay, so the hummus has been in the fridge overnight. As you can see, it's changed quite a bit. So let's take a look at that. Yeah. Okay, so this is as good, honestly, I have found, as anything you're going to get in the store. You control all the ingredients and the flavorings and the allergens, and it does come out cheaper. I did do the measurements for the recipe with the weights, and I'll put that in the list of ingredients. I didn't do the food cost, but yeah, this is a lot cheaper. And even if it was the same, it's just so much better. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. And I really hope you try this, and see you again.